Hey Pit family, it's me, the Pit Papa, and in this week's video, we're trying something special. See, when I was at the butcher this week, they had Tomahawk Ribeye steaks available for purchase, and this is a cut of beef that has always intimidated me. It's really big, it's kind of expensive, and I just didn't want to screw it up. But I decided that since this particular channel is about removing the fear and mystique from outdoor cooking, I needed to face one of my fears and do something I've always avoided. So I grabbed one of these steaks, I came home and did a fair bit of research, and then I did a technique called reverse searing, which actually led for the steak to come out perfect. I'm so excited to share the recipe with you, and hopefully, with the work that I did, you'll be able to watch the video and try this beautiful piece of meat out for yourself at home. So, let's get started.
Now, what is a tomahawk ribeye? Well, it's a ribeye steak that's been left attached to at least 5 inches of that rib bone, a bone which has been Frenched by your butcher. Now, why are we paying so much more for it? Well, a couple of reasons. One, it's left substantially thicker, so you are getting more meat depending upon where you get your ribeyes cut. You also are paying for the effort that the butcher went through to French the bone. And you're paying for the plate appeal. There is a wow factor to putting a tomahawk ribeye on the table. So, these are things that you're paying for. You will, however, get some additional flavor imparted by that bone, which is one of the reasons people like it so much. Step 1, about 2 hours before you're going to cook it, pull your tomahawk out of the fridge, salt it down really heavily. That salt is going to suck moisture up out of the meat, which will dissolve the salt, which will in turn reabsorb back down into the meat. And then you're going to leave it at room temperature while this happens, so it's nice and ready to be put on to the smoker. And that's right, I said smoker. We are doing a process called reverse searing, which means we're going to cook this baby low and slow to really close to our desired end temperature. Then we're going to sear it hot and fast on the gas grill and bring it up to that medium rare that we want. Reverse searing is not just for tomahawk ribeyes. You can actually do it with any cut of steak. However, I love to do it with these big thick cuts of meat because then I get a uniform temperature throughout when it's done cooking. All right, it's been 2 hours. The tomahawk has come up to room temperature and all of that salt has sucked the moisture out, dissolved, and then reabsorbed back in for a beautiful, beautiful flavor. Now we're gonna rub this down with some Pit Papa steak rub and get it out on our smoker, which is roaring and ready to go. You'll notice I'm going pretty hard on this rub, and that's because I want a very thick crust to form while I'm smoking this meat. That will give us a delicious flavor throughout when we slice into it once it's finished. Now let's grab our probe thermometer. Mine happens to have 2 probes, so I'm going to go in from 2 angles at the 2 thickest points of the meat. But if your probe only has 1, that's fine. Just make sure you get to the thickest point. What this will allow us to do is track the internal temperature because we want to pull it about 10 degrees low so that we can get it on for a hot, fast sear to finish it up. Now outside to the Oklahoma Joe, which I have preheated to 250 degrees, and we're doing this over a combination of charcoal and hickory chunks. Now my favorite wood for smoking beef is actually either oak or pecan, but I didn't have any today and hickory is still perfect for this procedure. I love the way it tastes, and there's a reason hickory is considered the universal smoking wood, because the fact is it just works with more or less everything. You'll notice I put this in bone side toward the smoker box. That's because I want to keep the main portion of the meat as far away from the primary heat source as possible so that it comes up nice and evenly in that low and slow environment. And that's it. You just let this go low and slow, maintaining a temperature in your smoker of 250 degrees, and you're cooking it until your tomahawk reads 115 degrees, assuming you're going for medium rare. Now don't come and do what I'm doing here. You don't want to open this grill up constantly and release all that heat. I'm doing it for 2 reasons. 1, I'm a YouTuber and I need some good B-roll shots. And 2, I've actually had some problems with meat thieves in my neighborhood recently who've been taking stuff off my grill, and so I'm checking on it every time I come back. Now keep an eye on your thermometer. Remember, we have a goal temp of 115 degrees, which means at about 105 to 107, we need to fire up our gas grill on high so it's nice and super hot so we can sear this off as soon as it's at 115. 115 on one probe, 114 on the other. That means it's time to get on the gas grill and sear this off. Now, this is going to be incredibly hot. It's been in your smoker for 90 minutes. Be sure to use a glove or tongs to move it over and get it on those hot grill grates and sear it. 5 minutes per side will be perfect. Off camera, I did a temp check in the thickest part of the steak with my Insta-Read thermometer and got 127 degrees. This is going to rest for about 10 to 15 minutes and it will coast up and bring us to that beautiful 130 to 135 medium rare range. So it's time to pull it off and let it rest. Now, why do we rest meat? Well, 2 reasons. One is because the proteins have been stressed while cooking and they need to relax and set, which gives us the best texture. And 2, it's to let the juices redistribute through the meat, so when we slice into it, we don't get a big puddle explosion, but instead the juices stay in the meat and we get the best product. And I'm gonna level with you. You just spent a lot of money on this piece of meat and you worked really hard to get it to this point. Don't screw it up by being impatient and slicing into it early. Just give it 10 minutes to rest, and as Alton Brown would say, your patience will be rewarded. Rest period done. Now it's time to slice. Put your knife in right next to the bone and just curve it around that bone connection. Just look at that color. Perfect medium rare. Nice pretty smoke ring around the outside. Oh, this is gonna be so good. Next step is to find the grade of your meat and cut against it, and also cut along the bias. This will give you the most tender as well as visually appealing of slices. And now we taste. I've looked at this cut so many times in the butcher's window and it's always intimidated me, but I conquered that fear. Let's see how it is. I'm not even going to bother to describe this. I'm just going to let the live audio tell the story.
Wow.
Yeah, that pretty well sums it up.
All right, Pit Family, there you have it. Tomahawk ribeye steaks reverse seared to perfection on the Oklahoma Joe. They were, as you heard in the live audio, just wow. They were absolutely incredible. I've never quite tried anything like it in my life before, and I'm so glad I chose to take the leap and confront my fears and try this amazing piece of meat. Hopefully with this video in your pocket, you can do the same, because that's what this channel is about. It's about demystifying and removing some of the fear of outdoor cooking. I'm really thankful to you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please be sure to hit the thumbs up button down below and leave a comment letting me know what you thought. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel for more content. I have gear reviews coming, and I always will have these weekly how-to cooks on the way. Until next time, though, I've been the Pit Papa, and I'll see you outside.